I'd cue the slow music on, but I don't have any. And I
Although
don't.
we've gone
Oh,
to
to
the
the
end
end of the
of the road,
road.
still I
No, I
can't
can't let
let
you
go.
go.
It's something that
Solo, Marshall.
belongs to me. Championship that got away. Oh, to the end of the road till October. I can't let
There you
go.
go.
Larry, come back. We gotta
Come
wait
back.
another year.
Another
Oh
year.
no. Where we going? We going to
Yeah.
Mexico. Go to
Oh,
Cancun.
men to men. That was our rendition right there, ladies and
Men to men.
gentlemen. What's up, Spurs
That's
fans? This is
funny.
coming from a somber end of the road podcast. Spurs.
Yeah.
Let me introduce ourselves. This is Spurs versus everybody post game show. We're gonna talk some other stuff too, but I'm Greg. It's my boy Marshall. You can find him on Twitter at MarshallBest14. Make sure you log in with him. Yeah, man, this is the end of the road for the Spurs. The Spurs 25-26 season. We exceeded expectations really, but we kind of went into this thinking, let's get to game 7, let's see what happens. If you look at the stats, I mean, the Spurs led. I saw a stat that said we led for 73% of the game, of all the games. I mean, total. So that means we almost led for 3 quarters, which seemed about right because we definitely didn't fall apart towards the end and gave up a lot of leads. Yeah, man. Just thoughts overall on this. We can get into game 6 if you want to talk a little about game 6 or just your overall thoughts about something.
Well, analytically, yeah, the Spurs were were up. Yeah, it's game 5. Just to make sure we know it's Spurs losing 5.
Okay. My
Uh,
bad. I'm so
I'm,
distraught. Can't even get the right games.
it's all good. Yeah. So, final thoughts. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with this game, or do we want to just go with the season as a whole?
I mean, it's just we could just talk briefly about this game, right? It's just
Okay. Let's talk briefly about this game. This game went basically how all the other games went. The Spurs get up, early lead. It looks good. Dylan Harper was cooking. Wimby started off pretty aggressive, looked okay. Champagne chipped in. Vassell hit a couple shots. Fox again had a terrible game. It just Castle was playing bad. And then right around somewhere around the second quarter, the Knicks made a little run. Spurs kind of countered, went up, looked all right. Third quarter, still up some. And then Knicks kept fighting back, and Brunson kept going at us. OG hit a couple of shots, and then Brunson really just took over. I mean, he became fourth quarter Brunson and just torched the Spurs at the end. Hart made a couple big threes. They got help from others. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a really deep team and your
yeah, it
coach
was
actually plays more of your bench.
yeah. Yeah. Spurs. I mean, this wasn't a good offensive game, right? The final score is 94-90. I think they had a
Low scoring
terrible,
game.
low scoring game. Neither team are really good on offense. Um, Spurs have give up 15-point leads. One by the end of halftime. They luckily, Vassell hit that shot, so they go to 5, right? Instead of
Yeah.
it should be a 3-point game.
Yep.
And then you obviously don't feel good at that point. You're like, I felt in a situation where if the Knicks were within 15, maybe 13, they're going to walk down the Spurs eventually in the fourth quarter and beat them. So it felt like in this whole series that a 10-point lead was like a 2-point lead to the Knicks. Like there was no faith in that any of these leads were going to hold. Even, I mean, we saw a 29-point lead eventually crumble. So, I mean, go figure, but yeah. 2 15-point leads, one in the third quarter. That one gets pretty demolished pretty quickly. Yeah, just not a. Thankfully, Harper shows up this game, has a big game. Missed a bunny towards the end of the game.
They missed a couple
That
free throws, missed
they're
a couple free throws, missed a couple layups. I mean, he's a rookie, but that synonymous. That's just something that I expect as a Spurs fan.
mhm.
When it comes down to close games, historically the Spurs just do not make their free throws. 2013, Kawhi Leonard, Manu
Mhm.
Ginobili, Tim Duncan's missed free throws before. It just, for
Yeah.
whatever reason, the Spurs cannot make the free throws in the damn clutch. I don't know why. That's just what it is.
Yeah. Castle makes put back basket, you
Yeah,
know,
they
with
don't.
with like under 30 seconds, under 20 seconds, somewhere around that. That's his first point of the game. Has a terrible game. Fox, terrible game. What else I'm missing? Champagne had a good game, Basad a good game. At one point, our bench we had 25 points. I think it was 22 for Harper, 3 for Keldon. The Knicks had 0 points off the bench till like I want to say early third, maybe mid third.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
about that point. I mean, they absolutely didn't. I mean, nothing really. It was just a low scoring, ugly game. And Brunson, like you said, Brunson went off and we made mistakes. We missed little bunnies. We missed free throws, and that was really all it took. And Mitchell Robinson got that offensive rebound to really secure it. It was just another deflating, more demoralizing loss for the Spurs to go out like this at home to the Knicks. But shout out to the Knicks. They haven't ever won in a long, 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 long time. So
Yeah.
shout out to them for winning, coming through. They were obviously the better team. And that's all she wrote for this season, man. That's all she really wrote for this season.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Brunson. Brunson's Finals MVP, man. Anunoby really didn't even have that great of a game. It was really just all Brunson. Hart. Don't get me wrong, Hart did hit some big shots. Mikal
Yeah.
Bridges played decently, and I mean Mitchell Robinson had 10 rebounds. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But
We were waiting for the
most part-
Brunson game, right? We were waiting. We had thought that we would see at least one good, really, really good Brunson game, and it came out in a clinching game. So
Yeah, I mean, nobody on your starting unit had more than 19 points, and that was Wemby. I mean, Champagne 14. He only took 9 shots. Vassell 12. He only took 8 shots. I mean, that right there to me is to me that's the problem when it comes down to this team. Is why are your guys who are your shooters only respectively taking 8 and 9 shots? I need both of them to be shooting in the upwards of 12 to 13 because they're your knockdown shooters. I mean, you need them. I don't need to see Castle taking 3+ 3-pointers. I don't need to see that. And him only having 1 field goal, which is that putback dunk, is atrocious. And he played bad in game 4 as well. If he plays like he did in game 3, they probably win game 4, being honest. So, granted, he didn't get in foul trouble. I get it, but still,
Yeah, and he didn't, and particularly on defense, he really didn't do a great job either. Got screened off. Went for a lot of pump fakes at times, made some bad fouls on Brunson. But Brunson's a clever player, man. He's a really talented, clever player that knows how to draw fouls, knows how to play with pace. It's really herky jerky. He made it really hard for even us to play Champagne, right? We basically had to go with Vassell or the 4. You want to consider Castle the 4, whatever you wanted to consider. We had to go small because we couldn't. They were just hunting. They were going to hunt They were going to hunt whoever, Champagne or whoever. So you couldn't really play Champagne in a situation like that, which takes away one of your shooters, right?
Yeah.
Now you're left with 3 guards that necessarily are not the greatest shooters, even though they did have a really breakout second half of the season, right? And they did shoot kind of well in some of the playoff games, but they didn't come through this series. So, I think Castle finished. I want to say he finished with like 35% this playoff series.
For shooting.
No. The whole playoffs. I think this series he probably shot. I want to say probably like 33%. Let me see.
Well, I'm saying, so you're talking about his overall field goal percentage for the playoffs?
They're at 3-point percentage.
Oh, his 3-point percentage?
Yeah.
Let's find out, shall we?
While we're finding out, anything else that stuck out from this game?
Well, before we do, he shot 35 from the 3-point line over this postseason, 46% from the field for this postseason.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else stuck out? Fox. I mean, let's talk about it.
Yeah, the big topic of course is be Fox. I mean, just overall the season, like I would say we out talented player. We had the bench, we had the talent that were better than players, but I just never like necessarily the fit. I understood you play multiple guards, you put Steph at the point because he necessarily can't really shoot, so you're gonna draw out to make sure they don't really cover him a certain way. Also, maybe they have him slotted in as the point of the future, the on-ball point of the future. So you bring in Fox, he plays more off. He's gonna play off ball, an off ball role, which I necessarily think it took away from some of his strengths. But he got done in the regular season, right? But in the playoffs, it just didn't look right. He didn't show up. He was meant for these situations, right? This was not supposed to happen to us. We were not supposed to be in close games and not be able to do anything, right? That's the reason why you have players like Brunson, you have players like Fox theoretically, is because when things are not going well and you can't draw up plays and necessarily like Cat's not getting a bucket, you can't find OG for a bucket, you need somebody to create something, right?
Yeah.
And that's the point of Fox or Brunson, is to get a bucket when you just need it, and he just didn't come through. 3-point shot was atrocious. He just gets lost on defense. You can just watch him. You can just watch him. If you just watch him, he really gets lost in scramble mode. Like, he really gives minimum effort. There was a play at the beginning of the game I was watching replays, and it was the middle of the play where he just kind of chills and just kind of doesn't even. Brunson gets a wide open three. He doesn't really respond correctly. He doesn't really communicate. He just kind of just okay, whatever. and then Brunson just hits a wide open three. So overall, it's a funky fit. They're gonna bring him back. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think you should probably cut it, but you can't really sell low. It's a weird situation to be in now. And now you have committed this money. How does that affect building a team going forward? You could prioritize that money towards a more professional fit for the Spurs and sprinkle some more money along other places. It's gonna be interesting, man. Thoughts on Fox and the season, this playoff series, whatever.
I'll go with the playoff series first. I mean, he didn't show up. I mean, that's just what it is. Now you can say the ankle, because don't get me wrong, if Fox, I'm not gonna completely say he didn't play well in some aspects, because if he doesn't come back against OKC, Spurs probably don't win that series, right? So there's times where he did some good, he hit the clutch shot in game 3. Spurs got their one, but when you really, really needed him, and it's not just between now, it's sometimes throughout the season, he just was not the Fox that we saw in Sacramento. The athleticism does not look the same. He's still quick, but maybe not as effective, just because now you have other guys that are just as athletic as him and also taller, especially the way the guards are, right? It's tougher for him to get there, get to his shots. And then a lot of his shots were just off. Now, granted, you can say, and during the season he had the hamstring, didn't have the full off season to really. Was it the hamstring or was it the quad?
I want to say it was a hamstring or some kind of leg injury, and then wasn't it a hand issue too?
We had the hand issue last year. He had to get surgery on, but that's good. But during the off season, he was ramping up, looking pretty good. But then he had the hamstring that kind of set him back, and it could have been lingering. Those things can linger. I get it, but just not the same player. I feel like he regressed this season a little bit. You can say, well, look at the guys he has around him. Yeah, but you're still that guy, right? Like, you have the more experience. Harper was a rookie. Castle's the second year. You know what I mean? and Wemby's a third-year player and he still hasn't figured it out. He's still not a complete product. Fox, you are. You are the complete product. Like, you're in your ninth, 10th year in the league. So
Yeah.
obviously this should have been the time for you to leave. But nevertheless, um, it sucks with how it went down. I see a lot of people bashing Fox on social media, saying trade him out of San Antonio, get him out of San Antonio. He's not good, this, that, and the other. I will pose this question to all of you because though I do not necessarily disagree that with the way Harper has developed, especially uh, within these playoffs and next year, you're definitely going to need to play him in some more significant minutes. I pose this question. If you get rid of Fox, what are you going to get in return? Because now you're losing a ball handler, right? And granted, sometimes he would lose the ball off of his legs going a little bit too quick and have some turnovers. He is another ball handler. So you got to make sure that you get some money back in return for that, right? Second, who's going to take his big contract? Because that 50-something million per year contract kicks in. He's making like 220 something $1 million. So who's going to take on that contract? Seriously, we got to seriously ask ourselves this question. So with those two things being said, he's going to be back, guys. Like, we got to learn to live with it. We need to root him on. We need to say, hey, go out and have a great season. Let's go back and get back to the finals. Hopefully he's able to get better. For this reason, guys, the NBA expansion draft takes place in a year or two. That's when I think the Spurs are going to move on from him. And that's what I would bet my money on. But we have to root him on that he's going to do well in order for that to happen. If not, we're going to be stuck with him for the rest of his contract.
Yeah. And one of the underrated values of Fox is you saw a difference in Steph Castle's turnovers, right? That was a big thing. When Fox is in the game or Fox is playing, Castle's turnovers significantly drop. Some of it's because Fox gets number one coverage. Some of it's just having another capable ball handler, another guy to go to, stabilize the floor a little bit. Yeah, just disappointing, man. I mean, you saw some glimmers of Fox like in Sacramento have maybe the lack of leadership, maybe the lack of accountability at times, the lack of just basketball IQ at times was evident, but he's totally developed into a guy who doesn't want to get to the rim at times. I don't know if it's because he was injury prone, doesn't want to get hurt, or that's not his mindset anymore. He loves that pull up midi to get to. Instead of using his speed to get downhill to the rim. I think he could progress that. He does look like he maybe not athletic as he was.
Right.
It's a little bit interesting. I don't know if that's the injuries or that just a byproduct of what has happened to him. The 3-point ball wasn't there. So yeah, man, we're kind of just stuck with him at this point, unless some team wants to buy low and then you're going to get scraps for him. It's not going to really help us, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I really don't. I mean, some team will buy low on him, but then like I said, like you're getting draft picks. Maybe you're just getting off. Maybe you have to attach draft picks to get off his contract. I don't know how that's gonna work, man. But yeah, he should be back all intents and purposes. Like you said, we should root him on, and make sure that because he's gonna be a huge key. And plus, you want the trade value to go up, like you said.
Yeah,
all good points. It's going to be interesting with the development of Harper because even though it was kind of out of context, Devin Vassell did in his interview come to the fact that Dylan Harper wasn't necessarily happy with some of his role and some of the minutes that he was getting. Now, Michael C. Wright of the Spurs clarified that he was talking more about the beginning of the year, and that he kind of settled into a role that he was comfortable with. But all in all, you still have to wonder, is Dylan Harper really okay coming off the bench? Does he really want to do that next year? Does he really buy into that? We just assumed, everybody's going to be the Manu. Everybody's Manu. Everybody's going to accept that. Keldon, it was a little ego and pride check. And I don't know if he's probably embraced it more this year than any year, but you got to still question about whether he really liked coming off the bench too. And Harper, for sure, now you have to look at it and be like, is he going to want to come off the bench? Is this going to cause an issue? How do we deal with this? How do we go from this? So how do you take those comments, man?
It could become an issue. Like later on, I saw some people that say they should trade Harper now, which I said that's blasphemous.
Mhm.
Don't do that. Um, I will say that if the Spurs don't get this figured out and they kind of run into the similar issue where Mitch is not giving Harper the time and he continues to go with Fox over him, we're gonna have an issue of Harper may be wanting to leave and being influenced potentially by his pops. If his pops even starts being vocal and noticing that his son's not getting the opportunities, maybe Harper is gonna want to leave in the next 2 to 3 years instead of staying with the Spurs. So you have to be very careful with that. And I get some people will be like, well, if he wants to leave, he don't want to buy into the team, and he's not a real team player. Well, it's like, well, the dude is ultra talented and he's behind a guy who is
The shit the bed.
only going to get older and played like straight garbage. It's not like
Yeah.
Harper didn't root his team on, but let's be
Mhm.
honest, he was really the reason why the Spurs were playing well. Now, I'm not saying he did everything perfect. And at times, I think Harper even looked gassed because
Mhm.
one of those threes that he took in game 4 when the Knicks made the comeback was extremely short. But I feel like he was tired because he's
Yeah.
not used to playing that many roles. So he's got to also take a look in the mirror and settle down. You're just a rookie. Okay. Continue to get better, you know. But again, it could be an issue, going on. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But the bigger picture that I would like to point out, and I've been calling this for years on end, uh, is that the Spurs have run into a situation like they have in the past of where they have too many guards that play the damn near same position, and it's a problem. It honestly is a problem because now we're looking at Fox, Harper, Castle, Vassell. Even I'm going to throw Keldon in there, even though he's technically a small forward, but he kind of falls into that role because he's a shorter guy. You have all those guys that are 6'3", 6'4" to 6'5", 6'6", but you don't have your bigs. So now you got all these small guards that are trying to fight for playing time, and it's not necessarily working. I have called not because he's bad, but I've called for Vassell to be traded because I had an issue with this going on. The lineup is too small. It's not because he's a bad player, but when you're next to Fox and Harper, and then Fox and Castle, and then eventually Harper, you playing the three is not really helping us. If Castle wasn't here, I'm fine with Vassell because he can play the two. But you're playing the three, you're a little small. Like, unless you're going to come off the bench and take that type of role, it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, yeah, we can keep him when you got teams such as Denver that have the Aaron Gordons, the Peyton Watsons, they can go bigger. You have the Knicks that were able to just go bigger with the Anunoby, the Bridges, those wings, those actual 6'7", 6'8" wings that were just a little tough for the Spurs to handle. And we could say, yeah, they went against the OKC. OKC was small. Like, I get it. OKC was small. Like, they're not a big team. Like Chet, outside of Chet and Hartenstein, they're small.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the guy right now you can probably get the most trade value for. I mean, if he's here next year, I mean, he's still a good player. I'm not going to be, mad if they don't move him, but that's something you're going to have to figure out because you're also screwing Champagne for playing. He's playing the 4 when he should be playing the 3, and you actually get a 4, which we'll talk about who we may want later. But it's very, very tight, convoluted mess right now with the guard position. And it could be solved by moving a couple of pieces, but I don't think they're going to do that. So we're probably going to see a more disgruntled Harper next year.
Yeah. To be fair, like, let's say we have an Anunoby or some competent player Anunoby was way more than a competent player, especially in this series. But say they do have a bigger 6'8", 6'7" wing at the 4 position. I mean, the Knicks are kind of actually smaller than us. With Brunson, Mikal plays the 3, OG at the 4. Josh Hart was starting, right? Josh Hart was the starter, right? The fifth starter.
Yes.
So they're kind of similarly built, except they have that 4 position solidified with OG, and they can theoretically go bigger if they wanted to with Cat the 4, but they really didn't. They really didn't do that a lot in this playoff series.
They really didn't need to.
Yeah. So it is interesting to see, like, theoretically, if the Spurs could figure out that 4 position, could their lineup still work? Now, you point out a situation where, yes, you would love to slide Vassell back down to the 2 in the off-ball role, because playing whoever, Fox, Harper, Castle, is not as effective off-ball as Devin Vassell is as an off-ball player and as an off-ball scorer. Champagny would slide into the 3 and D role. That'd be a question. I have another question about Champagny. Is he okay? I guess I could ask it now. Is he a starter? Is he a starter for you, or would you rather have him come off the bench again? And has he outgrown that role?
From being, I don't like him at the 4. I never have.
Mm-hmm.
Being a starting 3, I think you could put him at a starting 3, only because if you put him back on the bench, that hurts Carter. Mm-hmm. And I like what Carter can do if the Spurs utilize him correctly, which is not to have him play the 4, but the 3. But that would be the moving of Keldon Johnson, which they're not going to do. So if you put Champagny back on the bench and the Spurs do get a 4, now Carter's probably going to be the odd man out, and I think we're missing talent there. So
now you could move Champagny to the 2, because he's always been compared to Danny Green. They brought out analytical graphs and everything showing that he's been on the trajectory of Danny Green. He's the same size at 6'6", 6'7" in that range of wing. He can theoretically, and he was Devin Vassell's pretty much backup, and you slide both those guys to the 2. You have your shooters next to you, whoever you put in on ball. Now you slide Carter to the backup 3, and then you bring it up in a backup 4, theoretically.
So what you're saying is you move Champagny to the backup 2
behind Vassell, yeah. So when Vassell comes out, so you always have an off-ball threat movement shooter.
So hold on. So how are you proposing this going forward? If I'm trying to follow what you're telling me.
So it would be Vassell. Well, that comes back to the next situation, is you have to kind of do the point guard situation or the guard situation, right? And it's never going to happen where you eliminate 2 of those guys, right? You're never going to get rid of Fox and Castle, or Fox and Harper, right? They're always going to be, you're pretty much going to build around Castle and Harper, which that is another question. Like, we have to see what Harper and Castle play together, how they evolve together, which talent takes the leap. Are they complementary to each other? Can they coexist? We all think it can, but like, it still needs to be played out. It still needs to be played out.
I've seen pieces where they're the camaraderie, but right, that's true. The camaraderie between them looks good. They look good when they're on the court. They're just young. I mean, that's really what it is. Defensively, they look good on the court together. I liked when I was getting to see them play, on the court with each other. It just would have to mean Harper has the ball in his hands. Castle has to play off ball, which would mean I would put Castle more in a Bradley Beal role of cutting and getting to the hoop rather than trying to shoot all those threes and be a spot-up shooter. And I kind of don't want the ball in his hands because he can turn the ball over a lot.
Another question is,
he got to turn that over.
That's another big question, is because they brought in Fox and they put him in off-ball role. They automatically already put Castle on the ball.
Yeah,
so
I don't like it.
So what's to say they're going to actually give Harper the ball, which we think is probably the best situation, because he's just naturally more gifted. They're going to have him more. They're going to try to put him more in the mono row, which is a connected player, probably can facilitate, run the offense when he wants to, get a bucket when he needs to in clutch time. So we don't even know that dynamic either. Like, is Harper gonna be okay wanting to be that off-ball player more, and they're in a system they're okay with that situation? If you do move to Harper to on-ball, is Castle gonna start to fill away about being more of used like in UConn or like as off-ball player, or just maybe be successful still in that role that he is? Like, there's still questions we have to ask, like, and still got to be played out. It's not just like a foregone conclusion of everything is just going to be working out. And can they, shoot well enough to coexist? And can you put the right players around them that fits next to them?
Right.
So
Okay, back to your original point, because I'm still trying to get to what you were talking about with Champagne. So give me your lineup if you're moving Champagne to the bench? Like, give me what you're talking about so I can see what you're talking about.
Okay, so it'd be Castle and Vassell starting 1-2. Harper's at the backup 1. Champagne's at the backup 2. Carter Bryant will be the backup 3.
Okay.
I will move Keldon Johnson to another team and try to find a backup 4. Maybe sign. I don't know if John Collins is too good to play off the back, be a backup role. But I'm looking for someone like a PJ Washington type to play that backup 4.
We're gonna go there. So you're completely taking Fox out of the equation.
Yeah, I'm eliminating Fox. I'm using his money to get a starting 4 or starting 3.
Okay, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
so
I know. In my theater,
in your perfect world, and I would agree with you in that. However, since that's not going to happen, I'm talking about the reality of now.
Yeah.
And you were to move Champagne to the bench, because it is a very high possibility that the Spurs could get a 4. Now, what are you talking about as far as you would put Champagne in the 2? That's what I want to hear.
Okay, so Champagne would go back to the bench.
Okay.
Carter would be there with our 2 wings. I would.
Okay.
You're going to keep Keldon, so you're moving Carter to the 4. He's going to be the OG Anunoby at the 4, at the backup 4 right now. You're gonna have to use Keldon. Your 2 defenders are Champagne and Carter Bryant on that lineup, right? And Harper's good enough. Keldon's the only really bad defender, or the questionable defender on that. I don't like the fit necessarily spacing wise either. I would like another shooter at that 3, that 3 backup 3 position, or move Carter to the 3 and get rid of Keldon and get a better backup 4 situation. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
But you're going to be stuck playing Fox, Castle, and Vassell. And you're going to have to get some kind of 4. Someone like Rui Hachimura. I like Rui off the bench personally more, but he could possibly start. Tobias Harris. Those certain names that could be possible players, in that vein. Or you could go the popular one right now, as you see all over Twitter, and there's some rumblings that John Collins is in the mix to be a player, which I don't like John Collins personally as a player, because he's kind of soft and kind of like a ego guy. But as a fit, as an archetype, I'm cool with it. He can space the floor, he can rebound, he can run he can run a pick and roll, lob threat. You can play him as a small ball 5 at times. So he does.
He can shoot a little bit.
Yeah, he can spread the floor. He can play.
I'm sorry.
Handle the ball a little bit, just enough to get you by. Not the greatest ball handler, not the greatest passer either, but he can get by. So I'm not really, hate the situation if they were to go that route. They tend to go ball handling guys. Like, I would have said they would have been really high end on Naz Reid, just as a guy who can handle the ball. Is their ideal pick. But I wouldn't be opposed if they brought in John Collins, as a fit wise. So.
Give me your top 3 power forwards realistically that the Spurs could get for next year.
I don't think. I would get Rui, but the Lakers are gonna. I don't think the Lakers are gonna let him go. Where's PJ Washington at? Can we get PJ Washington in trade? Is that realistic?
He's in Dallas.
I'll try to get him a trade. Him and Najee Marshall off the bench would be fire.
I like Najee Marshall.
God, John Collins. Obviously, you have to put him in there in that category.
Just give me a top 3.
John Collins.
Okay.
Who else is available, really?
You mentioned Rui. Rui's another one that's going to be available
Yeah.
potentially if you can do it.
Had a really good 3-point shooting season. A playoff season, I mean.
Yeah.
Definitely hit some key shots. He fits that kind of mold of a 3-4 that the Spurs may be looking for. Gives you time to develop Carter Bryant a little bit. You know, there's still a question mark if he's even going to be a good backup. You know, at this point, like we all like put the best version of him out there, and we see like OG Anunoby or maybe even more of a player type.
Yeah.
But he still has to prove himself, right? He's still going to go through some situations, and I don't want to rely on him to start next year at all. I want him more in a Peyton Watson kind of development role where you can slowly move along behind an Aaron Gordon type.
Mm-hmm. So, are you ready for some power forward free agents?
Yeah.
Okay, you got LeBron James.
Okay.
Okay. No, he's a small forward. You could maybe throw him in there.
Yeah, he's a little Boris Diaw at this point, right? Like
Oh no, I was going to talk about him. I was about to say Chris Middleton is another guy. He's a small forward.
Oh yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis, Tobias Harris, John Collins. These are all unrestricted free agents.
Yeah.
Rui Hachimura, unrestricted. Of course, we had Harrison Barnes, so obviously no. Kelly Olynyk. I'm gonna throw, even though he's a center, I'm gonna throw Robert Williams the third in there.
Okay.
Dean Wade, Yabusele.
Dean Wade off the bench. Not as a starter, but Dean Wade off the bench would be nice.
Yep. Old dad Jeff Green, Larry Nance Jr. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, these are all unrestricted free agents. I'm not getting into restricted free agents because it's tough. Marvin Bagley the third.
That's your guy.
Yep. Anthony Gill. Precious Achua.
Oh.
So I'm giving you a lot of names.
Not fun.
Olivier Maxence Prosper.
Okay. So what you're telling me this trade.
Kyle Anderson.
A little slow-mo.
Jeremy Sohan is also a free agent.
Oh.
Unrestricted free agent. So give me
NBA champion Jeremy Sohan.
Give me your ones, and then also anybody that you could think of that you would trade for. So give me three of those guys of your top three, and then one that you would potentially trade for.
Give me Rui. Give me John Collins. Give me. Is Bobby Portis available? What was Bobby Portis' situation?
You could potentially trade for him. He could be your one that you can trade for him, but he's not a free agent.
I would bring Bobby Portis. I mean, I hate living and dying with Tobias Harris, dude. It just makes me a little bit sick in my stomach. Theoretically, transition guy, gives you a post-up game, can shoot the floor. I think he was overcast as the Detroit's second best scorer behind Cade in that Detroit team. But him as your fourth option maybe is a better situation, but he does have tendency to playoff choke. So I guess I go Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis on the bench would be nice.
Okay.
And I would trade for. There was a funny Jaylen Brown trade. Who do I want the for? I mean, Lauri Markkanen is obviously the name that I want.
Yeah, he's obviously the one I would want to, but we're thinking realistically because it's not realistic to probably get him.
KD would have been fun, dude, especially when you need a bucket.
Oh man, that's the one. I mean, you do that. You
shorter contract too. Like he would have been off the books and he would have been fine money wise.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have gotten Harper, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You would probably now instead.
Can we
You
buy
would,
low on KD now? But it's Houston, they wouldn't. They're not going to do this.
Yeah, they're not go to. But I mean, there is a chance because KD, if Houston just fails miserably, KD may not resign and he'll be a free agent after next year. So maybe you get him
And
at
Houston needs a
39.
point guard, right?
Houston does need a point guard. Well, Van Fleet's supposed to come back. We don't know what he's necessarily going to look like.
Yeah. Let me look at the teams real quick. Those are my picks. They're not very exciting. I'll think of a hot trade target.
I got so I have I'm trying to see how tall this guy is. Oh, I was gonna say Fontecchio is also unrestricted free agent, but he's about 6'7", so he'd be kind of small in the power forward position. Okay, so my 3 free agents, I don't know why I got out of that. That I would probably like would be Io's a free agent too. That's cool. And Maxi Kleber is also a free agent, but no.
Yeah.
I would say Tobias, not in no order. Tobias Harris, John Collins, and Marvin Bagley the third, because you can buy low on Marvin Bagley. But I don't think that I feel like Dallas is probably going to try to bring him back.
Yeah.
But if you could get Marvin Bagley, that could be a guy that really could play a small ball 5 for you.
Yeah.
And I think
I thought of another thing real quick. If the Spurs do get a 4, doesn't that automatically put Champagnie at the bench? Because they're not gonna put Vassell on the bench, and they're not gonna put Fox on the bench.
Not necessarily, because they could bring that guy. They might bring that guy off of the bench instead of Champagnie there.
So you think Champagnie you still want to start Champagnie at the 4 next season then?
I feel like the Spurs might. I'm not saying I would, but I think the Spurs might. Depending on who they go out and get. Because if you go get Marvin Bagley, he's probably coming off the bench. You're probably not starting him and Wemby at the same time.
Now, say they get a starting 4 a situation, whether it be Big
if you get John Collins, then you may end up moving Champagnie to the bench. Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering, because it's hard to, you're not putting Fox on the bench. You're not putting Vassell on the bench, right?
Probably not putting Castle on the bench.
And after Castle's season, like his leap, you're not putting him on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Champagnie automatically goes back to the bench.
Yep.
And does Champagnie want to go back to the bench? Does he view himself as a starter? Does he want to make starter money? Are the Spurs going to invest in him? Because
that's a hot take. That's a hot take that I have, and I mentioned it to somebody the other day. I said, I don't think I for some reason I have a feeling we won't Champagnie. We might trade Champagnie.
Yeah,
I have a feeling the Spurs actually might trade Champagnie, which I would hate because he's great, but he can't create his own shot. I mean, he's hit some threes. He really kept us into games, and rebounding too, he played well. But he's also a guy that you can get some trade back for. You know what I mean? So I just have a sneaky suspicion Champagnie might get traded.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation because do you pay him starter money? Does he want to start? Do you take that gamble on paying him? Because, now you can't make any more really bad decisions financially. You have the assets to move players just in case, but you don't want to necessarily use assets to get off bad contracts, right?
Yeah.
So, and then if you put him on the bench, is Champagnie just going to say, hey, like, I'm not going to take the financial security. I'm going to go ahead and play the market. I'm going to take that last year at $3 million and then try to up my value.
Right.
And leave the team. Can the Spurs lock him into a good contract, decline his option now, lock him into a long-term deal, and he be okay coming off the bench? Like, there's still like interesting little point too. Like,
yeah.
So
now the one that I could see as a trade, and I've never really been high on this guy. At this particular point in time, I would be okay with him on the team. Let's see if you can guess who I'm talking about.
So many options.
He's out west.
Okay.
Y'all raved. Many people raved about this guy, and I said he's okay, but y'all are making him seem like he is just that guy. He's okay. I was never really high on him. Not Trey Murphy.
Yeah.
I'm high on Trey Murphy. He's out west. He's in Cali.
Cali. Let's see the Lakers, Clippers.
His dad also played in the NBA. I think that'll give it away.
Dad also played in the NBA. Kind of stumped, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of stumped.
Domantas Sabonis.
Oh wow. Okay.
If the Spurs could somehow make a trade to get Domantas Sabonis.
We didn't even talk about Wemby at the 4 situation. Is that in play for next season? Is everybody locked in him at the 5?
He'd probably be locked in at the 5. He's better rim protector. I don't want him roaming around on the perimeter. He gets too tired. It's not a good look. But I'm telling you, Domantas Sabonis could help this team. That's a small ball 5, guys. He's a smart player. He can pass the ball well. He can get boards, knock down the occasional 3. If you can get him at a good deal, or depending on who you're able to trade to get him on the team, and they've been talking about potentially shopping him, so I wouldn't potentially rule it out. He could potentially be a Spur, which means goodbye to probably Champagnie, goodbye to possibly Vassell. They're not going to get rid of Kelvin. As much as I would be like, yes, let's go ahead and make this move. They're not going to do it. But I would look if the John Collins thing doesn't work out, and the Harris ends up re-signing with Detroit and some other things like that, I would potentially look right there to go get a guy like Sabonis.
Yeah. That's an interesting name. It's a really interesting name. I brought him up a while ago as far as a guy that would help Fox because he played with him. He did pretty well. Also, screen center, rebounder. That's more like in perfect fit next to Wemby because Wemby can cover up his deficiencies on defensive end. Not a good enough strong shooter. Still questioning.
Yeah.
Along with other of our players, strong shooting, even Wemby a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like the Spurs offense and what they probably would want to run, ball handler, guy can bring up the ball himself as a 5. Does all the things like we've seen centers from the Spurs do, Jakob Poeltl, Thiago, Luke Cornett, etc. Run that motion.
But he would actually be able to score.
Yeah.
And he actually has some post moves. So yeah, he's not the top guy I would want on the list, but he is definitely a name that I think we could potentially see in play if the Spurs do not get a John Collins. And I get you from the perspective, and I'm going to cover John Collins super fast. I get you from the perspective of he's a little soft, not necessarily the Spursy guy per se, right? But talent-wise, he is the perfect lob threat because so many times when Sohan was here, I saw Wemby try to throw that lob to him and he just couldn't because Sohan was just not athletic enough and he's just not offensive minded enough. Oh, John Collins is going to get that. Oh, John Collins is going to get that. And you with the chemistry with Harper going to throw that lob, Castle's going to throw that lob, and potentially, you can make him. I wouldn't want him necessarily at a small ball 5. But I mean, you could.
Yeah. You'd rather see than Carter Bryant or Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather see him than those guys. And John Collins can knock down some threes. And chase down blocks. I mean, he's a good fit on the team. He really, really is.
Yeah.
But he probably is a starter, so that would mean, you're right. Champagnie would have to go back to the bench. But that's the whole reason why I said I'd rather have Champagnie and move on from Vassell. So now we're talking about what are we going to end up seeing as far as Vassell? Are they going to move on from Vassell if they go get a John Collins and seeing how Champagnie is, especially with him having a lesser contract? Or are they going to keep him? Because don't get me wrong, Vassell played well. I'm not going to say he didn't. Defensively, he stepped up. He did what he needed to do. Still kind of iffy on some of the shots that he took, but I think the Spurs like him, and he's a good player. I'm not gonna say he's bad.
Yeah.
But you're gonna probably be able to get the most trade value from him. So we have to figure that out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting too. It's gonna be interesting. Let me ask you this:
What's
Is Carter Bryant solidified as a role player off the bench next year, or would you want to just go ahead and go upgrade at that position to somebody who's ready to go, or you feel like Carter Bryant will be ready to go next season?
He'll come off the bench. I would expect his role to probably increase a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah.
But again, that's you're still playing him out of position, which I don't like. I just have a sneaky suspicion they're gonna try to make him a Keldon Johnson, very one dimensional. Try to bully guys. Don't really have a bag. Hopefully he can get that shot up and keep his defense. But I feel like Spurs are gonna try to have him go on that Keldon Johnson role to put on a lot of muscle to play that 4 when he really ultimately is the 3 man. So
yeah, I look at someone like OG Anunoby as the blueprint that they're probably gonna want to make him into a spot up corner shooter that can attack a closeout, get downhill. OG has developed as an offensive player over time. His role has gotten bigger as he's developed and put in situations. But the ideal 3 and D player that can play the 3, can guard 5s at times because he's so strong, and he can move down to the 3 if you want to go big. That's kind of the role I envision him playing, Carter Bryant, long term, if he can develop the correct way. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as OG Anunoby. I'm also not saying that he can't be better than OG Anunoby. I don't want to put limits on anybody, but I think that's more the archetype that I would probably want to see from him. We've seen him play the 5 at times, not great, but he still needs to bulk up, still needs to gain experience.
Guarding Jokic, that's crazy.
Yeah, but we've seen OG guard Jokic kind of successfully at times. So that's kind of the archetype, a strong wing that can give you positional versatility at least 3 positions. Maybe you can slide him even down. You could probably maybe even slide if you didn't have Mikal. Maybe you could slide him down to 2 if you really wanted to go super big. We saw that. I think we saw that in a little bit of Toronto when they go super big with Pascal, Scotty Barnes, and OG. So
was Scotty Barnes there with OG and Pascal?
He was definitely there with Pascal. I don't remember. I think OG wasn't they? Was it that one? I think they were there that one season before Pascal got to the Pacers and OG went to the Knicks. They gave Scotty Barnes the keys.
I'm honestly trying to remember how long has Scotty Barnes been in the league? Was this his 4th year?
I think it's his 4th year.
He made his debut 2021. Yeah, I guess OG was still there because he had hit that big shot in the bubble, and I guess Pascal was still there as well. Let me double check that. For some reason, I just feel like he. Yeah, Pascal was there all the way through 2023, 24, and that's when he went to. So yeah, I guess they were there. I don't know why I was thinking that they weren't.
Yeah, I kind of remember because I remember they made a big thing about them going super big, super versatile. They didn't have Pearl at the time, so they had Pascal or Scotty at the 4, at the 5 at times. I knew that made the Raptors fans irate, not having a center.
Yep.
But yeah.
So here's the other thing.
But yeah, so you're giving. We both agree he's not going to be a starter next year, right? He's not going to be thrusted into that starter role. That we need. Okay. Point
here's the
number
other
2.
thing. Go ahead. Finish. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Finish your point.
So I guess we kind of agree that he's gonna kind of get that backup 4 position locked in unless they move on from Keldon, surprisingly.
Now that's where I have to say, and
Or Keldon slide at
put
the
this.
4 and
Well, this
Carter
this is
Bryant's at the 3.
where this is where it gets kind of tricky.
Mm-hmm.
If the Spurs go and draft a 4, like that Morris Johnson Jr. kid out of Michigan, or they go and get, the kid out of UT. They get the kid out of Kentucky, Quintence, who with the injury thing, that's kind of scary. But let's just say they go and get a guy like that who's a little bit more versatile, can handle the ball, is a little bit more impactful, a little bit bigger than Carter Bryant. And you go get another power forward in a free agency, you might scoot Carter all the way down the bench.
Do we even see? I think whatever rookie you bring in is going to get the Spurs treatment. I think he'll be in Austin. I don't really see a rookie making this roster starting unless they make trades, right? They squeeze the bench in and they draft somebody that's ready to go right away. They feel better at him playing either the backup 4 or 5 or whatever they envision long term.
It honestly just depends, man, because Carter has gotten some time, and he's a little bit more seasoned now. He got some meaningful games through the playoffs and even through the season. But if you get that power forward, Champagne moves down, maybe back to the bench, maybe he does that role, maybe he doesn't, he does not. You get a guy who maybe comes in one game for the Spurs, they're just wowed by him. He gives you more than what we've seen from Carter just based on, his just rise in production. And now we're like, oh, damn. I don't know if Carter's going to get time, which would suck. So that's another thing that at this point, I just don't know. I don't know, and I hate it for him because, as I mentioned, he's being wrongly utilized. He needs to be the 3. He don't need to be the 4. But with Keldon there, it just makes it extremely tough to do anything about it, man.
Yeah, so I guess going to this picture, how do you feel about this bench next year? This is an NBA championship bench. Harper, Champagnie, Carter Bryant, and then Keldon at the 4 with Luke Cornett at the 5. Is that good enough firepower to win a championship?
Off of the bench. If they can produce 40 to 45 points, which I feel like they probably could, yes.
Okay. Now, would you be happy with that bench?
No.
Okay.
Only
that's probably where I'm at, too.
Yeah, I think they could. It's just Keldon in the playoff series is just going to be unplayable. It's damn near same thing with Cornett.
I think we've seen a little bit of, to be fair to Keldon, this is probably his first real dose of playoffs. Like, we can count the Pelicans series where he kind of was locked up by, what's my man's name on the Lakers? Jackson Hayes at the 4. Mm-hmm. Jackson Hayes was playing the 4 for them. He kind of locked up Keldon. We've seen Keldon kind of struggle this playoff series. They're going to give him another shot, more than likely. I don't see them ever moving on from him, which, we both agree.
He's a locker room guy.
Yeah. At this point, he's kind of ingratiated himself as like the team captain, team rah-rah guy. Everybody loves him. We both agree that we would want him off the team, but he won't be. So that leaves 2 positions open. Theoretically, if they don't bring, I think we agree they're going to bring in a starting 4 or possibly 5 to bring Wemby at the 4 theoretically.
Yeah.
Okay. So that basically,
better.
Yeah. So that basically ensures that Champagnie will go to the bench. So that's 3 positions locked up.
Kind of. It just depends on who they bring in. It really, really does. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm teetering, but it just depends on who they bring in. John Collins, Champagnie goes to the bench. If it's or John Collins or Tobias Harris, anybody else, like if it's Precious Achiuwa, he's not starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with you there. So, but theoretically, Champagnie will come off the bench with Harper, Keldon, Luke Cornett. It's
Bagley coming off the bench. Sorry, go ahead.
And then that's 4 positions theoretically already filled off the bench. So Carter Bryant is going to battle with if they just feel like they should bring in somebody more seasoned veteran to play right away, or do they feel like, hey, we got to develop this guy, keep developing this guy, and just believe in him and keep going, and then we'll just bring in a starting four? Because really, theoretically, if the Spurs are Spursy, they're going to keep Fox, Castle, and Vassell in the starting lineup. Wemby obviously is going to start. So that leaves one position open to upgrade. And the bench is pretty much full unless you think they're going to upgrade over Carter or mysteriously move on from somebody that we don't see coming.
Right.
So theoretically, maybe one position's open, maybe two at the most, if they do the Spursy thing.
Yeah. But I do like your point of if you do bring Champagne off the bench as like a backup 2, at that point, he would probably be a backup 4, right? Or backup.
Well, Keldon theoretically does play the 4. He guards the 4s. That's probably his best matchup. Carter Bryant will guard they'll want Carter Bryant to either guard the best player or the second best scorer, depending on if Champagne will guard the first or second. They'll alternate. You could throw Harper if he keeps getting better defensively. He could probably guard the point of attack position. You might try to hide him if Champagne and Carter Bryant are that good defensively next year. They could kind of hide him at the 3 or on a player that is not as good. But Keldon will probably guard the power forward position or the bigger players that don't move fast. That's probably his best matchup, and let Harper, Champagne, Castle. I mean, obviously Castle, Vassell will be in the mix with those backup unit also. So you'll have plenty of defenders.
Yeah,
but I think it's just a missed opportunity to upgrade off of Keldon. I think it's an upgrade off of Keldon just to get a more size, better defender, better floor spacer. And we don't even talk about what a dramatic dip from the regular season, right? I mean, we have question marks. Keldon Johnson going into the season. He comes out a bat out of hell. 6th man of the year, deserved it, played absolutely spectacular, helped the team explode. Him and Vassell, taking their leaps, absolutely helped his team tremendously. And then he absolutely diverts back to the worst possible I've ever seen Keldon play. After the season where he was as good as he was finishing like Zion or Giannis at the rim. Like he was unstoppable at times getting to the rim, and he was leading the team in scoring sometimes when players were out. I mean, he was amazing offensively in the season, and then all of a sudden, absolutely nothing. I mean, he had one 15-point game probably, and that was it.
Yeah, I think when we know the Spurs have been in the playoffs, right? Now we have to look at, okay, just because this guy did this in the regular season, how are they going to fare come postseason when teams have a chance to plan for you and play you in consecutive games? Yeah, exactly. It's different. It's different, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to get off anywhere unless he develops some type of wiggle in his game, because he's all he does is try to bully people, and when you got centers and stuff that can block you, and other players that are actually playing defense and won't go for all that bumping, and they kind of crowd you, it's gonna be tough. It's 6'5" trying to bully your way in the paint. It's tough.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, he's gonna be tasked with him and Harper are gonna be tasked helping that second unit be great. So we'll see then. So I think we all agree and kind of okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
No, I think we kind of all agree on. We talked about every situation, the guard situation. Who would you get rid of? Obviously, I think we probably, if anybody had to go, it'd be Fox. But that's never gonna happen, so we don't have to talk about that really in depth. We talked about the situation of who's going to the bench if they get a starting 4. But we talked about Wemby. We still rather team at the 5 than the 4, even though unless they get some kind of like hybrid big situation. Where they can
like a Miles Turner.
Something can guard 4s and 5s, and they can switch off and do the. We've seen that with Robert Williams and Porzingis.
Robert Williams, yeah.
Robert Williams could be athletic enough to guard the 5 and strong enough to guard the 5s athletic, but he can also guard 4s and switch on to guards because they find a player like that. and they can run different schemes with Wemby. We talked about Robert Williams. We talked about the guys that we would like to see off the bench.
Yep.
I mean, as far as trade targets and stuff like that. I guess we didn't even talk about. I mean, Luke Cornett will probably be back. I don't think they'll get off of him. He was another guy that was great during the regular season, and then all of a sudden just absolutely just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
and was borderline unplayable at times.
It makes me mad because if people can go out there and check out Luke Cornett highlights from, I believe it's 2018 when he was on the Knicks and he was literally hitting step back threes off the screens, curling threes. I'm like, this dude can actually shoot, but he doesn't do it now. Why?
Yeah, he barely takes layups at this
in the playoffs. No offensive game. He has no offensive game now.
And I've seen more. I saw some in Boston. We saw some in Boston. We saw some in the beginning of the year. Him and Harrison Barnes and Keldon Johnson absolutely falling off the face of the earth. Definitely just I didn't see that coming, to be honest with you. I thought, in the beginning of the year, you could make a case that Luke Cornett was the sixth man of the year or the bench MVP. And then Harrison Barnes, was playable. He was doing okay. He was Mr. 100
shots.
Now he was Mr. 0 minutes. So those three guys absolutely shooting the bed. Definitely probably derailed the Spurs championship hopes. I'm not gonna lie. Part of getting the leads is extending them or keeping them when the bench comes in. And we saw when Luke Cornett came in, they came to go down the rim, attack. We couldn't rest Wemby as much as we probably could have. If he was savable. Keldon, he could have
extended. Want to play Plumlee.
Yeah, Keldon didn't give us the offensive output and extend leads. Harrison Barnes wasn't even playable at all. We didn't even attempt that. So those three guys really shit the bed and really hurt the Spurs.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't want to play Plumlee either. You got him. I get he's older, but I would at least thrown him out there to try to give you something, man.
Yeah, I think they just feel like Plumlee, Cornett, that are Biombo, they're out. They're guys that are going to be out the league. Yeah. Those are guys that are going to be out the league next year, probably. So,
before we get to around the league, give me your season overview.
It's easy to get lost in disappointment and say that this was a failure of a season, even though you could point to like maybe they should have seen the situation and gotten a upgrade at the 4 position, and that would have made the difference and winning a championship. But at the end of the day, they're playing the long game. At least for next year, they're playing until next year. They were, you hear people talking like, well, we're really ahead of the game, or really from the organization. Manu kind of echoed that. We're ahead of the game. And you have to admit, we're in a great position. We got 3 really I don't want to say superstars, but super. We have Wemby, obviously, who who Wemby is. Dylan Harper is obviously going to be a player, and Stefan Castle took a big leap this year on both sides of the ball. So we're sitting good long term. They still have flexibility draft position wise. Everything's going on. The Fox contract is kind of a scary situation if he doesn't come through next season. So overall, I'll give the Spurs a A- season overall, getting to the finals. I want to go B+, but I'll go A-.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. A B+, A- season. I'm gonna go B+. If I have to give it, I'll go 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
For the season. None of us expected them to make it to the finals. None of us.
No.
Though I still, I'm still kind of concerned on the Spurs guarding the perimeter, which kind of reared its ugly head in this series against the Knicks, because they had a bunch of guys that can hit outside threes. Thank God the Thunder were too dumb to not start Lou Dort. Or to keep starting Luke Dort, excuse me. Yeah. The Spurs were able to avoid certain teams like the Suns, who could clearly shoot the ball. And not gonna lie, if that would have been the Suns instead of the Portland Trailblazers in the round 1, I don't know if the Spurs would have survived that going down as big as they did, to be honest. Just the way they shoot the ball. But that's neither here nor there. Overall, Manu kind of said it best, and when he was interviewing with Inside the NBA, we didn't expect to see them here. Like they're ahead of schedule. Like
Yeah.
and I agree. And so for me, this season was a success. However, I get that the Spurs are trying to play the long game, and I don't like it because you
Mhm.
got to take chances. You got to take those opportunities to get certain players. Letting Sohan walk for nothing and not replacing him was a mistake. They should have replaced him. Matt Bagley was my choice to replace him on a low contract. Was another body you could have thrown there, another big body that you could have thrown in there that would have been serviceable. They just didn't do it. That kind of killed them against the Knicks. Even though the Knicks played smaller, I get it. But at least getting somebody to go out there and help out with Wemby, give him a chance to rest on the bench and still kind of have some type of offensive presence. That's what they really, really needed. If they would have been able to get that from Cornette, we would have been in a better position. They weren't. And I feel like that was the missed opportunity. But overall, it was a fun season, and I think it was a successful season, especially since they beat OKC as well, which
Yeah.
is basically what they're gearing up for. So,
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, like it's an interesting dilemma because you look at we didn't play OKC without AJ Mitchell and J Dub, essentially. Which you could argue either way. It would have made them worse, made them better. We still would have beat them, whatever, because of hypotheticals, right? And we did miss some teams that weren't necessarily healthy. So is this Spurs team necessarily a perennial finals team? That is a question. I would say they need to upgrade to
yes.
solidify that.
Yes, they do.
To be a team that's always destined to be in that finals. That's where you want to be at, as long as you, especially, we don't know how long Wemby's going to last. We pray that he lasts a long time, as much as possible. He's a really long career.
Yep.
But the financials add up quickly too. Like Harper's contract. I mean, stuff. Castle's got contract going to come up. Wemby's getting his max already. We have Fox now on his contract.
Yeah. You're still paying Dev like 20 something mil.
Yeah, Champagny has to get a contract if he's going to be renewed, and then Vassell and Keldon will come up again at the end of this run. Are you ready to replace them? Are you ready to move on from them? Are you going to bring them back after this contract? How do you retool? Like those are all questions you're gonna have to ask. But we always are like, hey, hit while the iron's hot, where you can win. And I think hopefully this shows the Spurs that they're ahead of schedule. They need to go now. They need to go right now. They don't need to wait and develop and wait for Carter Bryant and wait for all these guys to hit their stride. Which if they do and it works out, great. But let's get some help in here and solidify us as a finals team. And let's go win a chip.
Is it finals or bust for you next year?
It has to be. It has to be after this point. It has to be. There's no excuse now. There's no excuse not to be in the finals now. Besides injuries, right? If injuries happen, then you can write off the season and be like, okay, well, injuries happened, whether it be before the season, during the season, at the playoffs, whatever. You could write that off.
We'll go with significant injuries because I am a wait to be seen if it's finals or bust. The reason why I say that is because depending on whether the Spurs make the necessary changes or not, will let me know whether it is what it, if they're going to be finals or bust. If they get that power forward that we know that we need and figure out that guard situation with the Harper Fox deal and Mitch starts managing time a little bit better, then I'm like, okay, it could be finals bust. But if they really don't do anything, they don't really make any substantial upgrades, for me, you got Denver that's going to be healthy next year. Van Vliet comes back for the Rockets, and depending on what they do, they could be looking better next year. Kyrie comes back for the Mavs. Do they end up moving him somewhere? You should have DiVincenzo back for the Minnesota Timberwolves with a healthy Ant. Io, they're going to get a chance to figure it out. They're going to be better. What's going to happen when Luka comes back? Does LeBron stay? Does LeBron go? There's a lot of variables that are going to happen over the summer that we just don't know. And also, towards the trade deadline, you know how some teams make some moves. I mean, that got the Mavericks to the finals 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, when they picked up PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. They ended up going to the finals. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's for me. I'm gonna say no as of now. Depending on what the Spurs can do or what they do, will determine whether I'm like, yeah, it's championship or bust.
Yeah. For me, it's always champion. It's going to be championship or bust, and and if in that situation, if the Spurs don't make the right moves and they don't make it, then the front office deserves to be uh, held to fire at that point, because they should know this team has championship potential. They should be all in trying to help this team win a championship, and that's where I'm going. Like, if they don't do the necessary steps to win a championship, then that's why it's championship or bust for me. If it's not championship or bust, then I don't really care. If I has like, oh, the second round's fine, or third round's fine, whatever, then that I don't care what the Spurs do this offseason. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't have high expectations for them. But
Yeah.
if I'm championship or bust, I'm also holding the front office accountable to make the necessary move to put them in contention for the finals.
Yeah. I think Bo, I agree with you. I don't have faith in this front office. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't. I've voiced my opinion about the front office, Brian Wright. I've voiced my opinion about him. I just don't. Though he, okay, you got Wemby. You lucked up. You really kind of lucked up with Wemby. You kind of lucked up with Harper as well. Castle, okay, you made a good pick right there. The Fox thing right now doesn't look that great. The Sohan pick was not great. The Branham and Wesley picks were not great.
Yeah.
Not picking up a power forward once you let Sohan go was not great. So I'm torn with that. I just don't know if they're going to do the necessary things that it's going to take to win. That's why I'm just like, it's hard for me to say championship or bust right now.
No, I feel you.
But that's just me.
Yeah. Let us know if you're championship or bust next year in the comments below, or on social medias. We can have a debate about that. That's a fun one. Looking for real quick before we get out of here. NBA draft already up the 23rd.
June 23rd.
June. You're right. Mess up. Let me change that real quick. June 23rd. I'll be like, okay, we have a lot more time then. There we go. NBA draft June 23rd. The Spurs have what? The 20th pick, 35th pick, 44th and 45th?
Yes.
I believe those are the pick. Let's see. Spurs. I'm going off the top of the dome real quick. Let's see. 2026 draft picks. 20 via Atlanta in that trade, the 35th via Utah, 42 via Portland, and 44 via Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, give me 2 or 3 or 1 or whoever you want to give into for that 20th pick. First of all, do you want the Spurs to use the 20th pick or trade it?
If the right player is there, yes. And the 3 that I have, at least 2 would be Morris Johnson Jr. He's my top one. He's the guy that I've really just been all out for, that the Spurs should go get. 6'9", without shoes. So I guess with shoes is about 6'10", 7'4" wingspan. He is a hustle player, goes and gets the boards. He's got the University of Michigan. He already played with a big in A.D. Mara, so he's used to that. And he's just a guy that you could put in as a small ball 5. He can step out and hit that 3. I believe he shot it at 35% last year, something like that. And I mean, he was tough, and he averaged 13 and 7 off of the bench, if I'm not mistaken. And he played behind Yaxel Lindenborg, sometimes their backup 5. So he's to me, the prospect that I would want. I wouldn't want to get Yaxel Lindenborg, but he's going to be gone too early, so I'm not even throwing him on in this draft. So I have him. I have this guy from Texas. Or from UT rather. Let me see.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and echo the
Go ahead.
Yaxel. Yaxel should be in the. Do I don't see him? For some reason he's dropping in recent mocks. He's still probably a lottery prospect. Maurice Johnson's slated to go slightly out of the lottery. So those are definitely two good names that the Spurs. If
Maurice
for
Johnson.
some reason they drop, this is what the Spurs should be all in on.
Kareem Lopez is another guy. I'm not extremely enamored.
Let me tell you actually this real quick. The 20th pick, do you want a more ready to go player, or do you want like a swing
more ready to go player?
G League gonna be 2-year project, Luka Samic kind of guy.
More ready to go player.
Okay.
I'm trying to find buddy that we were just talking about. Oh man, I can't find his
Spurs
name.
typically go for guys that have played point guard at some situation in their lifetime.
Yeah, I don't want a point guard. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I'm talking about like more like Slow-Mo was a point guard at one time.
Oh yeah,
he ended up being a 3-4 player. So they tend to go players that have played point guard at some point in their life. They can handle the ball, that make smart decisions. That's kind of high field guys. That's typically what the Spurs have gone for. Guys that can play multiple roles. So those are just little tidbits. I'm still a big. I would move down, but I'm still an Isaiah Evans guy. No. He's still probably too small.
Yeah,
but could be a Champagny replacement.
Some people have Jaden Quaintance. Played with Kentucky, but that injury scares me. So I'm gonna say no on that. Alan Graves has been a guy that's been linked to the Spurs potentially from Santa Clara.
Yeah. Santa Clara's been a hot spot for talent lately. So you got Jalen Williams, Podziemski. So they've been kind of known as producing a little bit of NBA talent. And what's his name could be the next.
Yeah. Let me just go to the mock draft because I can't think of this.
I'm not really hip to this year's draft very much at all. So
I looked up some of this the other day and I had them all ready to go.
Our guy Baba Miller still can't shoot, but he's a lot more of a prospect than he showed at Florida State.
So, no, it's not Swain.
If we had a guy that I thought could shoot, that could teach shooting, I would definitely take Baba Miller in the second round. There's a lot of more interesting prospects in the second round for me.
Yeah,
I'm also a big.
Some people like Koa Pete. I'm not high on him.
Yeah, I like Alex Caravan. The second round for the Spurs.
Yeah.
Kind of like a little more athletic. Maybe the same. I'm a little more athletic. Type of situation.
Okay, Dylan Swain was another guy. They have him at a guard. I don't know why. He's 6'8". But he's another one potentially you could look at. Nate Ahmet could be interesting. He'll probably be gone beforehand. So I'm probably going to say no. Yeah. Graves. I could see Graves, quite honestly, being there at number 20 for the Spurs. because I feel like Morris and Yaxel may go before him, but Morris would be my top pick.
Yeah. Not really high on a lot of these guys at 20 around this range, to be honest with you, unless guys fall. It's a little interesting when the Spurs are into drafted. And even if they take this pick, or they choose to drop back and collect more draft assets, or maybe they even try to move up. It's really hard to do it, and then especially being a finals team with a big future. I don't know if teams are willing to go ahead and let the Spurs draft a player like Yaxel or something and get potential fit. So it'll be interesting what the Spurs do at 20 in this NBA draft. This is the first time I've not been excited about the draft, which is interesting. So I've always been excited about the draft. Still dealing with the finals loss, I guess.
Yeah.
But, it'll be fun just to see who the Spurs get. They're going to pick somebody, like whether it be a draft and stash or a G League guy, or if it is a guy that can actually produce. We'll see what the Spurs do on June 23rd.
Yep. Bleacher Report. It's one of them that I was looking at because a lot of people have different one, but now a lot of people are saying Alan Graves to the Spurs. His pro comp is a Boris Diaw. Who's your guy?
Right? Makes sense. A connected piece. The Spurs do need that connector piece at the 4 position if they want to go. Or they could go. They've shown to be a floor spacing team though. The guy who they possibly would want a floor spacer, and because you have Harper and potentially Castle starting long term and Fox, right? You probably need somebody who can express the floor.
Yep. Yahoo has Yahoo actually has Yaxel Lindenborg going to the Spurs.
That'd be the ideal situation.
That would be the ideal situation. Absolutely. If that happens and he somehow falls to the Spurs, oh my gosh.
Spurs just got another big piece to their future.
Mm-hmm.
If he pans out, of course. Like you can never know.
Only thing I'm slightly worried about with him is, believe it or not, injury.
Okay.
I don't know how durable he's gonna be. Somebody else has the Spurs taking a guard. Hell no. I don't know. No.
Well, it's not crazy, right? Because we know the Spurs love their guards, and they do draft guards. I mean, that's kind of Wesley and Branham, not the greatest picks, but
yeah,
they've had success with guards over the years. And theoretically, right, the 3 guards won't eventually 2 of them will start and one of them will be gone. So you eventually will need your backup guard, Corey Joseph, a Speedy Claxton, some of that elk develop, be your backup point guard. Obviously, Jordan McLaughlin is not the answer long term.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if they took a project guard long term, but I'm trying to think of if they're not Spurs sending like big guards and 2-way guards, so I'd be shocked if they took a small guard, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would too. So before we get out of here, man, we got to do a little bit around the league.
All right.
Just a little bit.
Checking in around the league with Spurs versus everybody.
All right, man. So around the league, first off, I will say congrats to the Knicks for winning their first championship in 53 years. I will give them their congrats. I didn't think that I would ever see the Knicks win a championship.
No, especially they were in bad shape for a long while.
Yeah, they were in bad shape. So that gives me some hope for the Cowboys.
Let's go.
Make it happen this year.
Could we see a Spurs and Cowboys championship before we die?
Well, I mean, we have seen both, though we only really remember the Spurs one because the Cowboys was so damn long ago.
Yeah, but let's say a future between now and the demise in life.
I hope
Will
so.
we see a chance? Will we see a chance?
Spurs, yes, I believe so. The Cowboys, I think Jerry's going to outlive all of us.
I'm never leaving. I'm never going to leave. I'll become a hologram or something. I'll survive.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. I want to look at this one major thing with around the league, and that is where's Giannis going?
Okay.
So I've heard a couple of things as of late. So it's seemingly that Giannis reportedly wants to go play with Miami, with the Heat. But the Bucks don't necessarily like what the Heat have to offer, which I get it. Like they don't really have a whole lot of assets and stuff to offer for Giannis. That the Bucks are like, yeah, we'll take that, and here you go. Reportedly, it's been I've heard a couple different reports. One that there's basically a deal in place for Giannis to the Celtics.
Okay.
And then they would move Jaylen Brown to the Hawks. And I don't know what Milwaukee would get back. They'd have to iron those details out. That was one report that I heard. Another report was that the Clippers have now emerged as a potential suitor for Jaylen Brown. So you send Giannis to the Celtics, Jaylen Brown to the Clippers, and then some assets over to the Bucks, including that 5th pick.
That would be amazing. I'd be interesting how the Clippers have just flipped their roster, right?
Yeah, 100%. You went from Paul George and Kawhi. You went from Paul George, Kawhi, Norman Powell to now Kawhi, Garland, Mathurin, Jaylen Brown. Now, like that is something that is, man, that would be something for real.
Yeah.
So that could be a new place for Brown. Ultimately, I think that the Celtics, from a couple of people that I've talked to, are not enamored with Jaylen Brown, and especially with how much he talks. And with his podcast and him saying this is his favorite season, it's just like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, what? Y'all got bounced out in the first round, and Tatum was hurt for most of it and came back. And then,
but he did have a good season.
He did. He did. Don't get me wrong, he did. But like, that's not a team guy right there.
Yeah,
how it sounds. So I can understand why the Celtics are like, yeah, we might have to get up off of you, brother. Even though you won Finals MVP, though I still think it should have gone to Tatum, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see where Giannis goes. I still have a sneaking suspicion, though Presti has said they will not trade Chet, but they've been getting a lot of offers. If that offer comes right from Milwaukee, and they're like, yeah, we'll send you Giannis, and you can give us Chet, something along those lines, I still feel like they might do it.
I would definitely do it. I've been on board. I've said that this Chet just wets the bed against Wemby. I just don't see that ever changing. I don't see his frame actually getting better. Obviously, against other teams, he does play well. He does do his thing, so you can't. And then Presti's from the Spurs. They're always going to believe in their guys. So I don't them seeing them move on from Chet. But me personally, I would definitely. Yeah. But I don't even know how the fit would work with SGA and Giannis, because Giannis kind of needs the ball as a point forward a little bit. Shea can play a little bit off ball, but Shea was probably more ball dominant. So it'd be interesting to fit.
I think it would help. I personally think it would help them, and they would probably be favored to win the championship.
Going against the Spurs, yeah, you would need that'd be the pace that you would need, the physicality, to ramp up in size.
Like, just think if they were to send Chet and a couple picks, and let's just say Lou Dort, and get back Giannis, and let's go with a Gary Trent Jr. He's still there at the Bucks, right?
The world may never know.
I think he is. But Gary Trent Jr. can shoot. Gary Kent Jr. can shoot the ball coming off the bench. You need some guys who can shoot. Yeah, man, shoots. That's not bad now.
Yeah, you still got AG Mitchell in the draft chambers. Still have picks. I mean, you can replenish your whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So that's basically from what I have heard. We still don't know what LeBron is going to do. I'm thinking he'll probably end up staying in LA, though I think the best fit for him would be back in Cleveland. If he were to go anywhere else, I would be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll have to see where some of these free agents end up going.
There's got to be movement now. I mean, now that you see the Spurs are above schedule, they're another playoff, and they're guys in the hunt. A lot of teams are making moves, man. A lot of teams are, I think I'm interested in the Wizards, what they look like.
Yeah.
Utah, fully healthy, actually not tanking. See what they look like. The draft picks, we even talked about the top guys going where they're going to go. See if they make a impact.
Where does Ja end up?
Ja, might be on the move himself.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis, if he comes, he'll probably stay in the East, to be honest with you. But if he comes to the West, what does that do? There's a lot of wrinkles. There's a lot of storylines that still need to be played out, and teams need to make moves if they want to compete with the OKC Thunders, the Spurs of the world.
Yep.
Those are the guys you want to measure yourself against. Now in the Knicks, right? You still get the NBA champion Knicks.
Yep. Halliburton comes back next year.
Halliburton
with their revamped roster with Zubac and him and Siakam, and so yeah, man. It's gonna be a fun season. I guess the last thing is, man, I hope this doesn't derail him, but Harden is taking this. Harden's taking this tough, man.
Right, what happened? Got arrested, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. What do you do if you're Cleveland?
You gotta move on. I think you have to move on. I think you have to figure out. I think you have to push Mobley to the 5, honestly, or get a cheaper version of Allen. I don't think you can maybe afford him long term.
Okay.
You got to fit better fits next to. You got to get a 3. You can slide Strusson at the 2. It's fine. Dean Wade's need to upgrade.
He's an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, so you got to figure that out.
Yeah,
but I'm moving on from Harden. I just don't think he can win with them. I'm sorry. Like I appreciate how good of a talent he was. I've enjoyed watching him develop and grow into the player he is. He's been a spectacular player. I just don't believe in him in clutch situations or him, delivering for your team. And it is what it is.
It is what it is, man. That's it for me.
All right, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out Spurs versus Everybody everywhere. We will be back. Probably talking draft, a little bit more draft situation. Have some guests on, talk about some stuff. Try to fill in the gaps in this long off season. But thank you for tuning in. This is my boy Marshall Bass on 14 on X. I'm Greg, and we'll catch y'all later. Great season, guys. Peace.